Today's talk will be on Rabindranath Tagore's play, which is there in our curriculum, The Post Office. Originally, the play The Post Office was written in Bengali in 1912 with the title of Tagore. To this day, the play Post Office is the most renowned and beloved of Tagore's dramatic works, and it is still regularly produced in various parts of the world. The play is about a small boy who is chronically ill. On account of his sickness, the boy is confined to his bed and he sits by his window watching life go by without him. Only by dying is the boy finally set free. In this manner, the play is primarily considered as a metaphor for spiritual freedom and for death as the beginning rather than an ending. The play also presents a social commentary on class structure through the servants who surround the boy during his illness. Now we go on to what this play is essentially about in terms of the critical import or critical significance of this work. Now, the first thing that strikes us, or the first aspect that strikes us with regard to this play, is the protagonist who is named Amol. Amol is a young village orphan adopted by his distant aunt and uncle. He is new to town and is excited by all that it has to offer. He is innocent, simple, and has a rich imagination. His chief desire is to see the world, which makes being confined to the house even more painful for him. Since Amol is sweet natured, he does not complain about anything. Instead, he makes the best of his situation by befriending several of the townspeople who pass by his window. Amol is also somewhat prophetic, or at the very least in his imaginings. For instance, when Amol asks the curd seller about his village, the boy imagines what it must be like, and the curd seller admits that his vision of the village is exact. He even goes so far as to ask the boy whether he has been there before. Amol also accurately predicts where the village boys are going and what they are going to do. Amol, as a boy, is well liked by all who meet him. Madhav, a miserly and greedy man who does not want to adopt a child, will spend who will spend his money, loves Amol despite his baser inclinations. Thakurda cares for him so much that he dresses in costume and pretends to be a fakir. All the townspeople Amol befriends are touched by him. The card seller is touched by the boy's interest in his work. Shudha laughs at his stories and brings him flowers. The watchman, who at first threatens the boy, later grows to like him and promises to return the following day with the town gossip. Even the headman, who relentlessly and continuously makes fun of Amol, says that Amol has a good heart. It is for all of these reasons that Amol's death is so sad and tragic. His death is not mourned, it is not even referred to in exact terms, but through his death we can understand that Amol is finally set free from his confinement. Even as he is about to die, we see that Amol is able to see and hear everything. The next important character in the play is the auntie, who is the unnamed wife of Madhav Dotto and is also Amol's adoptive mother. He is mentioned just a few times in the play, and that too only by Madhav and Amol. All that is known of her is that she wanted to adopt a son and that she likes to read. She does not actually appear or speak. It is odd that the adoptive mother of a boy who is clearly dying has no interaction with her son in the days leading up to his death. Another important character who is there in the play is the doctor, who cares for Amol by ordering his confinement and quoting scriptures. Although it is clear to modern readers that the doctor is ignorant, the characters treat the doctor as wise and learned, following his every order. The doctor's nonsense is most evident when he makes the claim that the greater the suffering, the happier the outcome. The doctor, like many of the other townspeople, is afraid of the headman. His fear is greater than his desire to care for his patient, and he leaves Madhav's house as soon as he sees the headman approaching. He does not finish his examination and promises to send medicine instead. Furthermore, the doctor does not take any responsibility for Amol's health. When it is clear the boy's illness is getting worse, the doctor says that his orders have not been followed, though in fact they have been. The other character who is also very important in a sense is Madhav Dotto, who is Amol's adoptive father and also in a sense Amol's foil in the play. We find that Amol is a dreamer, but Madhav is just the opposite to it, a businessman, a realist, a pragmatist. Although Madhav did not want to adopt a child for fear that he would spend all of his hard earned money, he has done so for the sake of his wife. Madhav has grown to love Amol so much that he no longer cares if the boy spends his money. He says, "Before I was addicted to making money, but now my reward is the knowledge that whatever I earn will be his." At the same time, Madhav is a practical businessman. He often leaves Amol alone in order to go to work. Despite the fact the boy is sick and bored by his enforced confinement, Madhav's practicality is shown in several ways. He wants Amol to become a pandit and laughs at the boy's ambitions to become a traveler. He sees the tall hills that Amol wants to climb as forbidding, and he feels they appear that way because they are not meant to be traversed. Amol, however, sees them as the earth raising up her hands and calling us. Madhav wants Amol to ask the Raja for something when he arrives. When Madhav indicates that he wants money or favors from Raja, Amol is oblivious to this, and the boy only wants to ask the Raja to make him a mail carrier. Madhav, as a businessman, takes everything at face value. He fears for Amol's life and asks for reassurances from the doctor. Yet, he does not really see or acknowledge the fact that Amol is declining before his very eyes. Even as Amol dies, Madhav refuses to accept the truth of what is happening, and instead he asks Thakurda why he is so hushed. So these are the main characters who populate the post office. Now we go on to the theme or themes which are apparent in this play. Very clearly, the main theme of the post office is that of death as a release or as a relief from both physical and spiritual suffering. In this play, death is constantly referred to. Madhav particularly talks around the subject. In the opening act, for example, we see that the doctor tells Madhav that if the boy is fated for long life, then he shall have it. When the doctor begins to speak about the alternative, Madhav cuts him off. Even when Amol is clearly dying before everyone's eyes, the word is not uttered. Madhav refuses to understand what is happening. The royal physician says the boy is going to sleep. Thakurda sits in reverent silence and demands the same of Madhav. No one cries or moans, and the playwright seems to be asking, what is there to mourn if suffering has ended and freedom has been granted? Perhaps death is never directly mentioned to underscore the theme, but we as readers or viewers know that death is conventionally viewed as an end to life rather than a beginning in some unknown realm. Therefore, relying upon the term would undermine the play's message of death as freedom. For this reason, the word sleep in the play becomes more appropriate, and it is indeed used throughout as a euphemism for death. To sleep is to be in a state that is not living, but is certainly not death. It opens up the possibility for dreams or an alternative state of being. Beside the wordplay that underscores this theme, there are several concrete instances in the play that addresses death as a form of freedom. First and foremost, when the watchman and Omol obliquely discuss death and mortality, the watchman describes time as going onwards, and though no one knows where it is going, everyone will go there one day. This is what he says. The watchman also says that perhaps one day the doctor will hold your hand and take you there. When Omal says that the doctor doesn't let him go anywhere, the watchman replies that he is referring to the greater doctor who can set you free. In other instances, as Omal is dying, he says that he feels better, that he feels no pain. At the very least, then, death can be seen in the play as freedom from the body and its constraints. Some of Omal's final words also indicate that death is a beginning and not an ending. He says, and I quote, now everything is open. I can see all the stars shining on the far side of darkness. The secondary theme in the post office is that of class structure. Madhav is a member of a tenuous middle class. He has done well for himself in business, but he is not rich enough to live a life of leisure. He has enough to provide for an adopted son and for his medical care, albeit not the best care available. This is shown by the doctor's treatments, which are derived from religious proverbs. We see that Madhav is afraid of the headman's power to make the Raja displeased with him and his family. He wants to ingratiate himself with the headman. He is polite to him and asks for his mercy. Yet, when it is clear that the Raja is not displeased, Madhav wishes to take full advantage of the monarch's visit, asking Omol to beg the Raja for a gift. The other class structures are explored via Omol's interactions with the passers-by. For example, we have the cart seller, the watchman, and Shudha, and they are all in the midst of taking care of their daily businesses, and they view Omol's enforced leisure as a privilege and not as a punishment. Because Omol is privileged to become a learned man, both Madhav and the cart seller encourage him to do so. Yet, we see that Omol sees this fate as a form of imprisonment. Thus, in an interesting inversion of class power, Omol sees freedom in the daily tasks of people passing outside his window, where the townspeople only see themselves as attending to their daily drudgery. So these are the issues that are to be kept in mind while we are studying Tagore's play, The Post Office. Thank you.